Imagine this. You're living your dream life by the water. The sun is shining, the breeze is cool, and you're spending your days enjoying your boat dock, taking in the views, and living life on your terms. Everything is going great until, boom, a Karen from the HOA decides she's going to take that all away. Not only does she want you to remove your boat dock, but she's got the power to make it happen. How far would you go to defend your space? Here's how it all went down. It started on a lazy Sunday morning. The weather was perfect, the water was calm, and I had my boat docked and ready for a relaxing afternoon on the water. It was just one of those days where everything felt right. I loved my place by the lake. It was quiet, peaceful, and my personal paradise. My boat dock wasn't anything fancy, but it was perfect for what I needed. It was sturdy, functional, and gave me the access I wanted to the lake. I had a small but beautiful home with a fantastic view of the water. The house had been in my family for years, and I had recently invested some money into upgrades, new paint, some landscaping, and, of course, the boat dock. I loved the idea of waking up in the morning, stepping out onto my dock, and being on the water in a matter of minutes. Life was good. But enter Margaret, the Karen of the neighborhood. She was one of those people who seemed to have too much time on her hands. You know the type, always in your business, always walking around with a clipboard, ready to point out any little violation. But I didn't think much of her at first. I mean, sure, she seemed to be constantly observing, but I figured it was just her personality. Little did I know, she was about to ruin my perfect paradise. It started innocently enough. One day, I was walking my dog around the neighborhood when Margaret approached me. She gave me that smile, the kind of smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "Hey there, my name," she said, clipboard in hand. "I need to talk to you about your boat dock." I froze for a second. The boat dock? What could possibly be wrong with my boat dock? I was confused. "Is everything okay with it?" I asked. "Oh, everything's just fine for now," she said. "But I've been going through the HOA guidelines, and it turns out your dock violates some of the rules. The length of it is too much for the neighborhood's aesthetic. You need to remove it." What? I couldn't believe my ears. Remove the dock? It was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it, and it wasn't blocking anyone's view. In fact, I was proud of it. But here was Margaret, with her clipboard, telling me I needed to tear it down. I tried to stay calm. "Margaret, I'm pretty sure the dock is fine. I've looked into it before putting it in, and I'm within the rules. I don't see any problem with it," I replied. She wasn't having any of it. "Well, I'm afraid the rules are very clear," she said, her voice dripping with superiority. "If you don't remove it, I will report it to the HOA. You don't want to deal with them, trust me." I stood there, stunned, trying to process what she was saying. She had no legitimate reason to tell me to remove my dock. It was part of my property, and I wasn't breaking any rules. I decided to try and reason with her. "Margaret, I've had this dock for a while, and no one has ever said anything about it. I'm not removing it. It's not a problem." "Well, we'll see about that," she said with a smug smile before turning and walking off, clipboard still in hand. I could feel my blood boiling. Who did she think she was, coming onto my property and telling me what I could and couldn't do? No one had ever given me trouble about the dock before, and I wasn't about to let one person with too much power ruin my space. But instead of backing down, I decided to take it to the next level. Here's what I did. I built a yacht club. Yeah, you read that right. If Margaret was going to try and ruin my boat dock, I wasn't going to just take it down. I was going to expand it, turn it into something even bigger and more extravagant. I wasn't just going to keep the dock. I was going to turn it into a full-on yacht club. Why? Because why settle for a dock when I could create an entire waterfront experience? Why let Margaret win when I could turn this into something so epic that the HOA wouldn't be able to touch it? So I started planning. I called up a designer who specialized in waterfront properties. I started researching yachts, docks, and all the little details that would go into building a yacht club. I wanted it to be a place where I could host parties, entertain guests, and just enjoy life in a way that felt like a luxurious escape. The first thing I did was upgrade the dock. I added more slips for boats, installed a luxurious wooden deck that would stretch along the water, and built a gorgeous outdoor bar area for parties. I even installed mood lighting, so I could enjoy the space at night. I wasn't just adding a few extra features. I was creating a private marina. But that was just the beginning. I didn't stop with the dock. I also added a small guest house near the water, so that friends and family could come and stay. And of course, I made sure that the whole setup had an exclusive feel. I wanted it to be a place of prestige, something that would make Margaret regret ever trying to mess with my property. As the project progressed, I couldn't help but smile. Every day I saw the yacht club coming together. Boats in their slips, the lights illuminating the water, the bar ready for a celebration. I was creating something so over the top that Margaret wouldn't be able to ignore it. When it was finally complete, it was better than I had ever imagined. The yacht club was luxurious, functional, and a complete transformation of my backyard. But here's the kicker. I wasn't just going to enjoy it myself. I was going to invite the neighbors over and make sure Margaret saw it. So, I threw a grand opening party. I invited everyone, from my closest friends to my neighbors, including Margaret. I knew she was going to show up. After all, she had started this whole thing, and I couldn't wait to see her reaction. The day of the party arrived, and my backyard looked like something out of a high-end resort. The yachts were docked, the bar was set up, and everything was perfect. As the guests started arriving, I couldn't help but notice that Margaret was walking down the street, clipboard still in hand. She didn't know what she was walking into. As Margaret approached, I stood at the entrance of my newly built yacht club, a glass of champagne in hand. I could see her scanning the area, her eyes widening in disbelief. She wasn't expecting this. Not in a million years. Her usual smug demeanor quickly turned to something else entirely. Shock, mixed with just a hint of annoyance. She slowly made her way towards me, her heels clicking on the stone pathway that led up to the deck. I couldn't help but smile as she got closer. She was about to witness the full extent of my defiance, and I couldn't wait to see the look on her face. "My name," she started, her voice strained. I don't even know where to start. This isn't allowed. You can't just turn your backyard into a yacht club." "Oh, but Margaret, you're wrong," I replied with a calm smile. "I can. In fact, it's my property, my rules. And as far as I know, there's nothing in the HOA guidelines that says I can't have a yacht club. I've followed every regulation, and I've even made it so the neighbors can enjoy it too." She stood there, her arms crossed tightly as she took in the scene. The boats docked along the new piers, the sleek bar area set up with crystal glasses and bottles of top-shelf liquor, the string lights casting a warm, inviting glow over everything. The whole setup felt like something out of a magazine. "You've gone too far," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is beyond ridiculous. The HOA will never approve of this. You're asking for trouble." I chuckled lightly, knowing she had already lost. "Oh, Margaret, the HOA is welcome to look. I've followed all the rules, and besides, this isn't about them, is it? This is about you trying to control what I do with my own property." She stood there, seething with anger, but couldn't come up with a single thing to say. I had won, and I wasn't going to rub it in. At least, not too much. "Why don't you come inside?" I offered. "We're about to have a toast to the grand opening. I think it's the least you deserve after all the help you've given me." My tone was light, but I could tell it stung. Margaret didn't move. She looked around one last time, taking in the full scope of the yacht club. The cool evening breeze ruffled her hair, and I could see her weighing her options. Would she leave? Would she stay and make a scene? "Well, I'll let the HOA decide what happens next," she muttered, her frustration clear. "But don't think this is over." I smiled, offering her a seat again. "It's never over, Margaret, but for tonight it's a celebration." She turned, not saying another word, and walked away, her heels clicking sharply on the stone path as she left. As I watched her retreat, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of satisfaction. I had defended my space, my peace, and most importantly, I had turned her petty complaint into something so grand, so out of her control, that she couldn't help but stand there, helpless. The party continued without a hitch. Neighbors gathered, drinks were poured, laughter filled the air, and the sound of music drifted across the water. I had built something that wasn't just about a boat dock or a docked yacht. It was about showing that you don't have to back down when someone tries to push you into submission. As the night went on, people came to admire the space, and I even had a few of the neighbors complimenting me on how impressive it was. The whole ordeal with Margaret seemed so far behind me now. She had tried to take away something that was mine, and I had turned it into something far greater than she could have ever imagined. I'd shown her that there were ways to deal with these situations without getting angry or upset. Sometimes the best way to win isn't by fighting back directly. It's by doing something so bold, so unexpected, that the other side is left speechless. Later that evening, as I sat back with a drink in hand, looking over the peaceful waters and feeling the light breeze, I realized that this wasn't just a victory for me. It was a victory for anyone who's ever had their space challenged by someone who thinks they can control everything. I had turned a frustrating situation into something beautiful, something that would last far beyond any HOA complaint. As I relaxed and watched the sun dip below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the water, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Not because of the yacht club or the party, but because I had stood my ground, created something incredible, and shown that no Karen or HOA was going to take away my happiness. I couldn't help but smile to myself. This was my victory, and it felt good. If you've ever had a Karen like Margaret trying to take away your peace, your space, or your happiness, remember, don't back down. Sometimes the best way to handle it is to create something so amazing, so grand, that they won't have any choice but to admire it. Take control of your life and your space. You've earned it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of defiance, creativity, and standing up for what's yours. I've got plenty more stories to share, and trust me, they're just as epic as this one. Thanks for watching, and remember, live your life the way you want, without fear.